are back and we are live. We are set to go on another round of the Dirt Sheet debates as we get into some of the hot topics in wrestling. And we just talk it over, get in that chat, click all the buttons, be a part of the conversation. What is on your wrestling mind tonight? So much to talk about, so much to get into. So, welcome to the Wrestling for Life Network. Let's go! Ding, ding, ding. We are live and back at it again, folks. Like I said, we are the Wrestling for Life Network. We are the channel that just covers more live wrestling than anybody else out there. And we are doing our thing again. Tonight's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk a whole lot of stuff. Wyatt Sick6, TNA, NXT, The Miz, maybe, MJF, and so much more. I don't know why he came into my head. But I will remind everybody, that is Ringsider Anthony. No, that is Ringsider Anthony. I am KJ White, and that is Big Nick.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag team trio stream champions in the world. Every night, delight KJ and White, the chapeau that runs the show, Ringsider Anthony, and I am Big Nick. And we got to talk first about the topic that's on everybody's, the tip of their tongue. Roman Reigns has unfollowed Solo Sikoa on Instagram.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's very interesting, very intriguing touch to this whole story.
Yeah, it seems like he's unfollowed Solo like on, is it every social media platform? I know YouTube was one, I think, and Instagram. So yeah, this is interesting. I feel like this is all leading up to his big return. I'm thinking at SummerSlam. I feel like his return, Roman Reigns is a big enough star to return not on a weekly show. Right, so I'm thinking SummerSlam is when he returns, and comes back. I don't know if he comes back as the whole head of the table. I don't know if it's that same gimmick or is he going full face. I don't know, but at this point, I think we're all ready for him to come back. I never wanted him to leave, but I think we're all ready for him to come back.
Well, real quick before you jump on that, I will remind everybody, get in that chat. Remember, the super chats are your way to stand out. Guarantee that you get clicked on. We're going to run through a plethora of topics here for the next little bit. But get in that chat. I hope everyone out there is happy, healthy, and safe. You're enjoying your Friday Junior. The weekend is upon us. So we got lots more content coming over the next couple days. Big Nick, what do you have to say about Roman Reigns?
I didn't think Anthony was going to take it that seriously. I was joking around because to me, it's what a little bit like you see in like the sports world to where like, you know, Draymond Green has unfollowed the Golden State Warriors type shit. It's one of those, to me, a little that vein of, I know it kind of works with the storyline, but it's so funny to me that that's like a big story right now in wrestling. That I've seen journalists report that.
I'd argue that the WWE has done a really good job utilizing social media. I mean, one of the big topics that we're going to dive into, I mean, you just sent over the clip. I mean, there's the Pat McAfee show being harassed by seemingly Wyatt's. Like, I think they've done a really good job of utilizing social media, playing the dirt sheets, leaking out what they want to be leaked out, keeping things close to the vest that they need to. I think it's been good.
Oh, absolutely. They've 100%, like even with Adam Pearce, to where they've had it kind of been hacked with him with Postman Pierce and all of that, and how we even got to this whole howdy thing of taking over Twitch, etc. They have really mastered the social media game, it seems, when it comes with WWE.
Yeah, I think really at this stage, you know, in the world, the social media is where a lot of the storylines need to be pushed to keep them going throughout the week. And I thought we were serious when we were talking about Roman Reigns, because I felt like that was a big I felt like that was a big story, because it literally, everyone has literally been talking about an unfollow. So even in like reality TV, unfollowing is like a big thing if you unfollow your castmate. So I feel like this is pretty big. It's on that type of level.
I'm with you. And I mean, it ties back into the story of like, if Roman and Solo were the ones, like Solo keeps saying, you know, on behalf of the tribal chief, and I talked to the tribal chief. Well, if Roman's unfollowing him, does that mean he's talking to somebody else that isn't Roman?
Valid, valid. And I think that's kind of instantly where my mind went. I know you've been preaching it for the longest time that it's really Dwayne pulling the strings here. So yeah, and it's people are even pointing out how he still follows Jay, Jimmy, all of that. So it is interesting that they're incorporating social media, and it's a way to make the storyline have that tinge of reality to it, like Anthony was talking about on reality TV shows, etc. It has that tinge of kayfabe still.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the best shit. When you can, stretch your imagination as a fan base,
Mhm.
right? We just saw it with the Wyatt Six, and I know some people out there just have no fun in life. And even with the Wyatt Six stuff, they're just like, this is silly and it looks campy, and just let it go. Enjoy the show. Like I said on Wednesday, I mean, we watch shows with dragons and zombies. None of those shit are actually happening or have happened that we can prove. Sorry, conspiracy theorists out there. I mean, we get right behind a show with all the fantasy. This is no different. And again, if you can make it align with realism, that's your pocket, your bread and butter.
Yeah, and I think I always use this as saying like, why is wrestling like put on a higher pedestal than any other television that comes on TV? Because they do the same stuff that happens on other TV shows, but they bring it into a reality based area. So just like you're saying with dragons and dungeons and Game of Thrones or whatever it is, that's basically what sometimes what we get on WWE TV. I even had one person earlier this week when I was talking about how Nikki Cross looked like the lady from the ring, the girl from the ring coming through the TV. Someone said that's Vince McMahon booking. I'm like, y'all can't be happy. I don't think y'all can be happy at all.
Well, even Vince Russo came out, good old Vince Russo saying, "Oh, Triple H gonna fuck this up." It's like, bruh.
Yeah, the master of long-term storytelling, 100%. The man that never hotshot an angle, never did anything stupid at all. And that it's funny that you bring up Vince Russo, because I think that to me though is why at times though some of this stuff gets, if it is a little bit camp, if it is a little bit of the fantastique, it's still at the end of the day, it's still halfway supposed to be a sport and everything. It does still have to be halfway at least competitive in the realm of reality, which I like that they're going to try and do that with the Wyatt Six. They've already said allegedly that they're going to try and not keep this, into the fantastic. They're going to keep it grounded.
Yeah, seemingly. And I mean, they're off to a good start. I mean, in my humble estimation, what they did on Monday, and I know we're kind of trailing into topic number 2, but what they did on Monday was solid. It did have that spooky feel. It didn't feel like it was magical. There was that mystique to it, like you said. We got some fog and a big old light up door.
Right.
It feels like a group of crazy people. It feels like The Purge. It feels like The Strangers. It feels like a horror fucking movie.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans will suspend their disbelief to a certain extent. It's that threshold that they are dancing with like perfectly of, I can believe that there's some light up door and we've got, the Firefly Funhouse and everything. You can sell me on that. Sorry, I think.
No, you're fine. Yeah, absolutely. I think I even said, and I don't know if this was far-fetched, but I even said on Monday that it might have been better than Bray Wyatt coming back, his whole reveal at Extreme Rules. I don't know. I kind of felt that way because how it was presented, how it kind of mirrored the element of wrestling and fantasy and horror all together in one moment. And I believe this was Bray Wyatt's vision anyway. So we probably would have gotten to this later on after everyone was involved, all he wanted in his Wyatt Six. I think we would have got to this moment. But I think on Monday, like I was sitting there in disbelief. Like, I'm like, what is this? When Nikki Cross came out, I literally in my head was screaming, the ring, the ring. And then the camera like just panned back. And I'm like, bodies are laying everywhere, and I think it was even the element of like some of us thought it was Gunther that was laying back there. Some of us thought it was Carmelo Hayes. And then we did get Chad Gable actually being one of them. So it was like the element of surprise that we got, the element of horror, and the element of did they just take out everybody on the roster, or was it just Chad Gable? So it got a lot of us talking Monday night.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think it's a really good vibe as far as And I kind of agree with you as far as it being a little bit elevated compared to what we got with Bray. And I think they knew that they had to go big. That we've already done one kind of White Rabbit reveal. If it was just kind of that again, then been there, done that. I think they did a really cool job. And I mean, like I said, even having lights flicker at Pat McAfee's show. Pat McAfee's talking to other sports analysts about, did you see what happened on Monday? They took out all these people and they're crazy and I'm scared. Right. You got Jey Uso cutting promos of like, you can have the Fireflies. Fuck this shit. I'm out. Like, I think they've done a really good job of insulating it all to make it feel strong.
Well, absolutely. Well, and with everybody that was taken out backstage, that I guess it's kind of come out that most of them were pretty much extras. Like they compared like tattoos of the guy that everybody thought was Braun Strowman. So what do you both think of the real big emphasis on Chad Gable in this whole thing?
A little surprised.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised as well. I think I saw something where someone kind of was trying to put two and two together, and I didn't really follow the QR codes as much, but I think one of them said you stopped saying thank you.
One of the last ones, yeah.
Okay, so that was when it was like, okay, maybe this makes sense a little bit. Why he never won the Intercontinental Championship? Why this heel turn is happening? It was all leading to maybe Wyatt Sick6 versus him and the Creed brothers or whatever they try to do there. It's really kind of hard to speculate because I really don't want to speculate with this. I really just kind of want to see how it plays out. If they're going to spread this across, Raw, SmackDown, potentially NXT. Is this just a Raw thing? But yeah, it's very surprising that they set their sights out on Chad Gable.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's interesting too, though. Even though they were extras and all of that, who they made us think also got taken out, because I've seen the theory going around of with it being like Gunther, Carmelo, Chad Gable. They've all recently turned on people that they called family, etc., which seems to be kind of what has brought in all of these people together, which I do think we're going to get vignettes and everything that really kind of explain this. The fallout now, what they do next to me is super interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the real cool part. Now, like Anthony's take as far as not wanting to speculate too much. Like I just put a poll up in the chat. Like, will we get the Wyatt Sick6 on SmackDown? We don't know.
Right.
What would you say right now? What would be your guess?
I'm leaning towards no, which I kind of like. I'm leaning towards no, but if they should happen to have a lights out on SmackDown because they haven't really declared anything. They've just come back to Carnage, to cause carnage and, incite a massacre. So they could go after everybody.
Absolutely. Well, we don't know. There hasn't been, outside of NXT, there hasn't been any WWE programming that's been on since Raw. So they could, like, how is any brand going to really respond to this? Like, even if they don't show up on SmackDown, what's next Monday Night Raw look like? Does it just start off with them again, just destroying everybody?
It might be the funeral of Chad.
In the arms of an angel. Well, I can't sing the other one. The other one is sung by the dude that's in trouble.
Right.
But it would be interesting if they showed up on SmackDown and again still just kind of destroy everything. I think though that there's other stories to tell on SmackDown and other similar moments. Because off the cuff, I think Drew's showing up to fuck up CM Punk in Chicago.
I like hearing you say that. We are on the same page. We are definitely on the same page there. It just fits. I mean, again, that's, I think, one of the remarkable things. We've spent a lot of time and we've seen the internet response to the Wyatt Sick6 and everything they did. But Seth Rollins returned. Drew McIntyre quit. And now we're like, shit, where does this go? But to me, it seems so fitting that they're advertising, CM Punk on SmackDown. He's not a SmackDown guy, but they're gonna be in Chicago. Well, that's oddly enough your hometown, and you just fucked me up in my hometown. This seems very, perfect.
And it seems like he was already hinting at after Clash that he's close to, if not already pretty much there, that he's going to say that he's good to go.
Yep.
So I think we're setting up not Money in the Bank, but SummerSlam. We're setting up a match there. Yeah. Because that's the thing about this whole feud is they still have yet to really get super physical. There's yet to be a match anything.
It's
Right.
going
Yeah, they only got physical a little bit at WrestleMania, which that was all Drew's fault. That's why I don't believe Drew deserves any type of sympathy in this storyline.
To hell with you! To hell with you! I want his record. I want his statement stricken from the record, Your Honor.
wrong show. Wrong show.
Because all he had to do was grab his title and go to the back like that. I saw that one TikTok lady said, grab your title and go to the back, but he had to seduce CM Punk by crawling on the table, getting into his face. Drew McIntyre deserves no sympathy in this storyline.
I agree. I've called it from day one. I mean, this was the way we wanted it to work out, the way it made the most sense, the biggest draw. This is one of, if not the best rivalry in 2024. And like Nick said, they haven't even stepped in a ring. It feels like they're building towards SummerSlam. They've paced it well. It's not shoved down our throat every week. Some weeks we get Drew, some weeks we get Punk, and every once in a while they interact in such a way that you're like, uh-oh. And I feel like what happened to Drew at Clash was just the ultimate breaking point. We saw how Drew handled it. Fuck this shit, I'm out. And
sorry,
no.
I was just gonna say, has this been the best main roster, main event, top tier scene storyline in WWE that didn't involve the world title in recent memory?
I'm trying to think of a storyline that didn't involve the story.
That's the
Title
thing.
that was good.
Everything's been
Yeah, I
wrapped
think
around the
you're onto
title. This has
something
been the
there.
best one, not around the title. I
Yeah,
mean, to an extent it
absolutely.
was, but now it's become you screwed me, I must destroy you. It's been personal. It hasn't been about the title or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree there. In recent memory, I can't even think of a storyline that was this popular outside of the world title that has everyone invested.
Yeah, no, I think it's pulled everybody in. You had, people like myself, Nick, you were in there with your 2 cents. We saw the chat of just being, it could go this way, it could go that way, yay Drew, no Drew, yay Punk. So I think it's been outstanding. Again, we talk about the bloodline, their ongoing saga, but they've gone through ebbs and flows like any long story would.
Right.
This is just heating up in such a way that, yeah, maybe there is a Bad Blood pay-per-view that this builds towards, but step by step, they're really making you want to see each other get their hands on each other.
You just my light bulb in my brain right there. I know that it's been talked about with the potential for this match and everything, and CM Punk even said, "Get the hell out of my face with that fantasy booking crap." But if you have a pay-per-view called Bad Blood, is there not a feud right now in WWE that is more apropos, more fitting than a pay-per-view called Bad Blood with Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk? You throw that in a Hell in a Cell and it's finally on a pay-per-view that isn't built around the stipulation. Spicy meatball.
No,
Right.
that's it. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like one of the only feuds right now. If you are building towards a Bad Blood pay-per-view, hopefully in Atlanta, yes, this is the storyline that you're doing on. I think it's perfect. I mean, there's real I don't want to use the word real, but it's real animosity between these two. The way they're portraying it is real animosity, and I feel like you have to have a stipulation match down the line, depending on how they want to take this feud and how long they want to carry it out.
Yeah, that's my thing. I think if you get SummerSlam and then you go beyond SummerSlam,
Hachu. That's his name.
As I was saying, if you get SummerSlam, whatever happens, then it can lead to one of the other pay-per-views up until, if you're looking October, maybe the second match is Survivor Series, and then you need something, like you said, a stipulation where it's been so heated and so intense, we need to put them in a cage.
Yeah, this has that super personal, this is Drake Kendrick. This is just few energy all the way in this feud here.
Right? Get Taylor Swift and Kendrick. We need a theme song. Let's go.
Because baby, now we got bad blood.
Right. What's up,
if they do that as for the theme of that pay-per-view, I'm punching you. I'm flying to Taylor and I'm punching you.
I accept that. But yeah, I mean, the Punk Drew storyline. Now Seth Rollins comes back to challenge Damian Priest as well. Another big shock. I thought that was really well done in the sense of we were all sitting on the edge of our seats waiting to see what was going to happen with the Howdy, and they gave us Rollins.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in a video a couple of days ago of how over the past couple of weeks, WWE has been using that element of surprise to really get us involved. Jordan Grace is one of them. We had what happened on NXT this week with Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian, and then Seth Rollins. And I mentioned that a lot of the big reporters haven't mentioned anything about we knew this beforehand. We just wanted to keep it, behind closed doors or anything like that. It was literally a surprise. And I'm glad that's kind of back a little bit in professional wrestling, because I feel like we've lost that. We've all wanted to see what happens next. So we're digging deeper, finding sources, and no one knew Seth Rollins was coming back. I didn't expect Seth Rollins to come back at least until the end of the year, close to the Royal Rumble. And for him to just show up like that out of nowhere and then getting a title opportunity, that was just amazing to see live, because I was really shocked. I was like, wait a minute. I think we all assumed not Beth Phoenix, but Becky Lynch was taking time off to help Seth Rollins recover. And what, Becky Lynch has been gone 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks? Yeah, that was not the case.
I think that's the best part of it that you mentioned, is that there was no dirt sheets, there was no tweets, there was no scoops, there was no leaks. And they've been very careful with that with WWE. We've talked about it. They'll feed some bullshit to somebody to get a storyline over, get it something moving. And they'll also play their cards super close to the vest. That's why we've had all those surprises pop up. No, I had no idea and did not expect Seth Rollins to be back anywhere this close to everything at Mania and everything. We thought pretty much he's going to be out for what? I think everybody kind of suggested like 9 months or some shit like that.
Right. We thought he'd be out for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they set up Damian Seth. To me, this is a validation match for Damian. This is a chance for him to get a big win over the one and only champion. I think it's something they're going to continue to do to validate Damian.
Yeah, it actually kind of scares me a little bit, because Damian Priest at the press conference after Clash at the Castle was very emphatic that I'm here to stay, right? Yep. He even mentioned that people think that he can't beat Gunther. SummerSlam, I'm going to prove you all wrong. That got me excited a little bit, because I was like, okay, so I know this Seth Rollins match is to validate his reign as World Heavyweight Champion. If he plows through Gunther at SummerSlam, I'm already like 85% behind Damian Priest. I've been a big fan of him for a long time, but if he beats Gunther, I don't know what I'll do with myself, actually. I really don't, because I'm like, Gunther is the top guy right now. Outside of any major storylines, Gunther is the top guy. And if he takes down Gunther at SummerSlam, I think that'll shock the world, to be honest.
And so we've come to the end of the road. Seth's winning, my guy. Seth's winning. We're getting Gunther versus Seth.
Really?
We're going to do this game again?
Absolutely, we are. I'm going to double down.
I will definitely double down with you and tell you that Seth Rollins will not get the W. They are using Seth Rollins to build Damian Priest.
I don't know. I think Seth versus Gunther looks pretty nice on a SummerSlam poster, my guy.
Yeah, but Gunther beating Damian also sounds good too. And this way, Seth doesn't have to take that out.
As that like old song says, I think Nick is going up that hill to try to make a deal with God to make this happen. So
I'm making a deal with somebody out here. I'm torn. I guess I want Seth to win. I think he kind of coming back off of this, and then he just takes an L, and then where's he go? He can't go to Punk because now Drew and Punk's the thing. So where's he go? Does he go back and just rest up the knee a little bit more? He's got one match in him, and he takes pause. Where do we go?
I was just about to suggest that maybe this is a one match thing for Seth, and then he does take some time away after.
You don't think we could do Priest versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam instead of Priest versus Gunther?
Gunther has a guaranteed title shot. This is what I tried to explain.
I'm saying, but it doesn't have to. You could have Priest versus Finn Balor, not for the title, my guy.
I guess, but I mean, yeah, I mean,
The breakup of Judgment Day.
then we need something to turn around real quick on that, and we really need it pushed. The impression that Damien's giving me right now is we're not there yet. But yeah, I mean, again, could it happen? Sure, but I think we could get Finn versus Priest at Money in the Bank for the title. Oh no, we just announced Rollins. My bad.
The only way that's going to
After
happen is if Finn wins the Money in the Bank.
Now, if Finn wins Money in the Bank, I think that's great. I would be really in for them for have Finn win the Money in the Bank. Be a nice surprise.
You don't think it's going to be the guy that's on the poster, Mr. Jey Uso? That might be kind of clearly set up to be the odds-on favorite. I know I wanted LA Knight initially, but once you start putting, Mr. Yeet in the Bank and everything like that on the poster, kind of feels like you're giving away the end.
Yeah, I don't know if Jey Uso is going to be the guy that does it. I really don't. It'll be intriguing to see who gets it. Well, I mean, he's still over as fuck. He'll be fine. He's doing
He's
good.
going to lose the Fireflies. What else is he? He's just going to be down to Yeets.
I mean, he got the up and down.
Yeah, he got the Yeets. That's all he's going to have left.
Right. I agree with Priest going over Seth. Definitely saving Damien for Gunther at SummerSlam. Yeah, I kind of feel that. The internet would explode, Anthony, if Gunther beats or Damien beats Gunther.
I mean, the confidence this man is giving about that match at SummerSlam, I don't put it past him. I really don't put it past him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I even found what Triple H had to say about those comments and saying like, yeah, he has every right to be pissed off that everyone's kind of writing him off. Like it feels like they're behind him in a good way. That's why I was 100% confident that he was gonna win against Drew, and that's why I'm very confident that he'll continue. He'll beat Seth. It will be a nice resume builder. Seth had that belt forever, and a lot of people were like, Seth's got to give up that belt. He gave it up for a few weeks. You're going to give it back to him? I don't know. I don't know how I like that.
And quite frankly, I believe Damian Priest has been doing an excellent job. I've enjoyed Damian Priest's reign over anything else right now. I've been afraid to say this, but I'm not really liking anything that Cody Rhodes is doing. It's not giving me anything. So Priest really, to me, has been holding that World Heavyweight Championship picture alone to me, and I feel like it's too soon for him to lose to Seth. I think if he's going to lose, he potentially will lose to Gunther.
I don't know. It's Seth to me. I think it's somebody even in the chat said that WWE thinks that Seth versus Gunther is the bigger match. I guess I think the Cody stuff's starting to heat up. I'll agree with you a bit on that. If you got Randy eyeing the belt, you've now got Solo. That's a storyline for SmackDown as well. That Solo seems like he's eyeing Cody as well. I guess I'm trying not to sound like I hate Damian Priest in all of this. If I'm just picking Seth Rollins, it makes for a good back and forth here a little bit. I don't want to hate on the man because I really did feel for him when he came out in that press conference after Clash and everything. Like I fully hat in hand, I was wrong, and he seemed super impressive. I said it was probably his best promo he's ever done. So I just don't know if I have as much faith as you two do in him going forward throughout the rest of the summer and going, further down down the year.
And I feel like, Nick, that's kind of understandable too, because like he didn't do the best this past Monday in the promo with Seth Rollins. But I think this is like the growing pains with Priest because he's been kind of put in this position. So he's learning as he goes. And I think that's really just perfect right now to learn as you go. And I think, you still have those fans, including you, Nick, that are unsure. And that's valid. I really think that's a valid point.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah, no, and I just think that based on what Triple H is saying, based on what Damien's bringing to the table, and somebody just said Damien versus Gunther is a Raw match. It's not, though. Damien's been in a main event position for a long time. Even before he was champ, the Judgment Day were closing out a lot of Raws. And not just Rhea Ripley, but Finn, Damien, tag champs. And I think that's what the goal is here, is to prove people wrong to a lot of extent. I think Damien Gunther is definitely a pay-per-view match. It might not be your marquee pay-per-view match. They might have to take the AJ Cody position, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a great match. Two big boys, they look eye to eye with each other.
Heel on heel.
The only time I might doubt Damian going into a Gunther match. I don't have any faith in Seth taking this belt back. To me, it's counterintuitive.
I guess I'll say that I at least like that this is like a viable discussion though that we can have and everything. It's not one of those of it's clearly with storytelling of it's how it's been under He Who Should Not Be Named of we know 2-3 months down the road where they're going with all of this. They could pivot at any moment with any of this.
Yep.
And it'd still be a banger.
Well, yeah, we saw that at WrestleMania, right?
Right.
So, no, I mean, again, a very intriguing. Cody had 3 great matches, all better than Priest's matches as champ. Yeah. Cody's reign's been fine. I know some people, I know, Anthony, you said you're not loving it. I think he's doing okay. I think the residual storylines lacked. So we're like, I mean, I don't know why, but AJ Cody should kind of get us all excited, but it was okay. It was good.
AJ's been lukewarm for so long, though. He wasn't ready to go. Like, he wasn't heated up for that or anything like that. AJ just kind of seemed like he was just coming off the bench.
Right. And I'm not doubting the matches. The matches have been great. The only one I didn't really like was the last one at Clash at the Castle. But the matches that Cody has had has been great. I feel like Priest is putting on better storylines right now than what Cody is given. He with Drew and with other things, I've been more invested into that. The matches, they've been good. They've been great. I mean, he fought Jey Uso. I thought that was a fun match. But I think the storyline surrounding what Priest is doing right now is way better than what we're getting with Cody Rhodes.
When do we get the breakup of the Judgment Day feud?
It's got to be sooner than later because I think Chris's point here. See, I really thought, and I kind of stepped on my toes earlier I thought maybe they were leaning towards Finn against Damian at Money in the Bank, but then Seth came out of left field. So I don't know. And you know what? Realistically, maybe there is an internal thought of like, he's good, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not getting that impression, at least externally, from the group. But I think you kind of got to work Damian into a little more of a heel mold, unless it's very similar to, they just let it ride because Gunther's going to get cheers no matter what.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous game, and especially I think you've got to have someone that's going to be the out-and-out favorite there. You kind of can't just have a middling crowd for a world title match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's a valid point.
Especially when next year you're going to do 2 nights of SummerSlam. So you got to make sure this motherfucker validates doing 2 nights.
Oh, they could shit
next year
completely, and then they're still selling out next that 2-night one.
They
don't have to prove shit, my guy. They're locked in.
Yeah, but you still got to show up and show out because that's what the show's about. You can't just phone this fucker home.
No, then they really shouldn't, and I don't feel like they have. I think Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes is equal. Well,
fair, valid. I'll give you that.
I want to see what happens with Cody now that Solo's kind of turned his attention to him.
Right.
Like, what happens here? Does it tie into the bloodline? Where does this all go? That's got my attention.
The Solo part, the Randy Orton kind of eyeing that belt. To me, now it seems like we're starting to kind of heat up with where Cody's going to be going through the summer. Like we're setting up towards SummerSlam. I don't know if he'll even have a match. Maybe he has a match on Money in the Bank. You do Solo Cody at Money in the Bank. That might be a little fast.
You could. I feel like the back half of the year for Cody Rhodes is going to be better than what we're getting now because you got potential Randy Orton, you got potential Solo there. So I feel like SummerSlam to Royal Rumble, I think that'd be because he's not dropping that title at any show in this year. So I think from SummerSlam to about the Royal Rumble is where we're gonna get the big heat up to Cody Rhodes. Right now, personally for me, it ain't there. It's just not there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Again, not bad, just not really anything happening. So
right.
again, I agree with you now. I feel like we got through the last pay-per-view. We got through Clash. We're heading into the summer, halfway through the year. And now all of a sudden Solo's back. Like, hey, and I thought that was a great way they did it, where Solo was just hanging out, celebrating with the guy. Like, hey, how you
Right.
So I think now we turn this back up and we go back in, and through going after the champion, we get some bloodline answers along the way.
Oh yeah, we've still got a few members to bring in of like Hikuleo or Tala Tonga, and then Jacob Fatu. Which please don't change his name, WWE. Just keep it Jacob Fatu. We don't need Mida Tonga or anything like that.
Chubba Tonga.
Right, Flippa Tonga, Crime Tonga, none of that shit.
I love the names. I think Cody loses to Randy at SummerSlam. I can see them fighting. I can't see them losing.
Well, it's weird to think of, like, there feels like there's no true end game, which I mean is not a bad thing, but it's also not a per se good thing with Cody. Like, I would know it's really far out there, but like, where do you see him ending come WrestleMania next year? Like, where's Cody slot into you? Anything? He goes in as champion. What, like, it's weird. I know it's very early, but like, we already know we're probably going to get Roman Rock at Mania next year, I would assume.
Oh, I was thinking Rock Cody. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because of how they left it the Monday after WrestleMania. I was thinking Rock Cody at
night 1 and then Rock Roman night 2.
Don't do it.
You'll be blown the fuck up.
I think we might get Rock Cody before WrestleMania, but I also wonder how much they're dragging their feet as far as wanting like the Rock to be on, utilized on Netflix. I wonder if that's part of like the feet drag of like, we'll get there, but I think there's a battle between Cody and The Rock to be settled still. And then, I think if this bloodline civil war goes the way I think it will, at some point we're going to need Rock versus Roman.
Yeah, that's the big question of when you do that. I could see you do Rock Cody at like Rumble, maybe
even before that.
You can potentially do that at Royal Rumble and then have an interference by Roman Reigns to cost The Rock the match to set up for something at WrestleMania.
I think we can all, this is again just all premature booking. So if this, actually comes to fruition, we're all Nostradamus out here. That comes Survivor Series, we're going to get the Bloodline versus Bloodline in War Games. I think we'll probably get to there by that point because that's mid-fall. That's around like November. So be interesting to see where that fits into everything.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. I'm kind of glad you brought that up because usually around this time we start kind of seeing the build to Survivor Series, right? Because last year we had the Judgment Day versus, Cody Rhodes and his gang for so many months that eventually led to War Games. We had the same thing the previous year with Bianca Belair and Damage Control and her team running through the entire summer of 2023 to get to, or 2022 to get to War Games. So it's interesting to see that's not being built up right now, but that could potentially start at SummerSlam with a Roman return. And then, like you said, Jacob Fatu coming in, and we still have to get Jimmy involved because after WrestleMania, he was took out. So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts with the bloodline to get to that at War Games.
Yeah, it feels like a slow build, which we're okay with. Again, patience to the wrestling fans. I know it's hard. But yeah, I think from SummerSlam on, that's where we start looking towards Survivor Series.
Yeah, going back to, I'll bring it full circle all the way back to talking about the unfollow from Roman Reigns on Solo Sikoa. I agree with Anthony that we're getting Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. He's getting involved some way, somehow. He's showing up. And we're going to have the moment of Solo and the Bloodline looking at the entranceway, shitting bricks because they hear. Now, does he come out with, the or does he come out still with the operatic and he's got to take 7 minutes to walk down to the entranceway?
Yeah, 100% gonna saunter on out to that ring.
Oh yeah, I think
because you won't at that point, outside of if you're already planning an ulterior motive, you think that he's showing up to help. He's the guy that's supposed to be there. Solo may be shitting bricks on his face, but if you're not a smart mark, if you're a casual viewer, I feel like you might still think that he's it's the tribal chief's return. You pop for the tribal chief. You don't expect any tension between him and Solo. And then when it happens,
I guess my question would be, do you think the head of the table tribal chief gimmick works as a face? Will it translate that way?
I think
when he's fighting for his shit, yeah.
Yeah, and as long as he keeps his same swagger, same attitude, and that's why they're definitely not going back to that fucking big dog entrance song, bro. That is putrid. I think people have a visceral.
It's the Shield 2.0 music.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good. I still think they're gonna build to a moment where the next time, like if we see a moment where Paulie's in the ring and he's about to get his ass handed to him, start looking at the ramp. That's what I think is gonna happen. Is Roman's gonna show up to save Paul. I still don't know if I trust Paul, but that's what I think is the moment where, something Solo doesn't beat Cody at Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
The Friday after, they blame Paul Heyman, and then here comes. Oh.
So going back to you not trusting Paul, like is he giving you something that's not making you trust him? Because I feel like out of everything he has done in his career, I feel like this is like the prime time to actually trust Paul Heyman.
You can never trust Paul Heyman.
That's it. That's the truth there. It's
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 7,354 times. I ain't fucking trusting your ass.
That's the dilemma with Heyman. He's playing it perfect. If you're taking it at face value, it is 100%. This man is being tortured. He's uncomfortable. And he's terrified, and he's selling it so well. It's just because it's Paul fucking Heyman that I'm like, I don't know, bro.
Paul Heyman is a masterclass of a fucking professional wrestler, performer, manager, personality, what have you. He needs to be studied like the fucking Mona Lisa. He's perfection. Yeah, you can never trust Paul Heyman. Now it's also going to be interesting. Speaking of Paul and everything, we're going to have CM Punk on SmackDown also with Paul Heyman while, he might be getting berated and everything from Solo, and maybe we get a CM Punk intervention or anything like that towards Paul Heyman, I think, which by the way, will be here live for Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow night here 100%. And we're tiptoeing by the window of 5K subscribers. I think last I saw we were at 7 away and we're still at that 4.99K. So let's see if we can get to 5K by the time we go home tonight.
I think it went up. But 70% of the people think that Damian is going to beat Seth.
Well, 70% of them people are wrong.
I love it.
That just means I'm a win big, motherfuckers.
Let's go. You're due, bro.
I'm like a terrible degenerate gambler in fucking Vegas. I'm already waiting for Vegas, for Maniac Vegas. So I'm already a degenerate gambler just out there. I've been wrong 10 times in a row. I'm due to win. I'm due to hit.
You bet on the Washington Generals? What?
Right.
Let's just transition real quick a little bit. I know we spent a bulk of this on WWE. Something coming out of last night, MJF versus Rouge happened. We thought this was like an ongoing, like, welcome back. And now MJF is going to fight Hichichero. Barocchio.
Itchy Scratchy, the fucking physicist, the chemist, fucking Doctor Strange from CMLL. And it's bad. Like, that does Forbidden Door still hold its value that it did when it first happened? It feels like it no longer exists as a true pay-per-view. The concept is gone and dead. You buried, you've killed it.
Yeah, I mean, Forbidden Door for me, it ends up hurting more than it helps sometimes. To me, it completely, I know we bitch that there's not a whole lot of storyline going on, but to me, it really takes us out of any of the existing storyline that's kind of there. And again, why would MJF fight Hichichero? Why is Brian Cage all of a sudden like the most important guy on the show? What happened there? Like, but MJF's your biggest star, and where people talk about how deep that AEW roster is, people are going, well, who does he fight then? Well, that's a good question.
You should have had Rush versus him at the fucking pay-per-view.
That's what I thought they were building
on weekly television. And even then, why did the Elite now just randomly have a beef with MJF? Like, what did he do? Last I knew, he didn't actually say anything about that whole storyline, to my knowledge. So Again, it's just convoluted shoehorning to fit a gimmick pay-per-view at this point.
To me, last night was a whole bunch of confusion. Because it was like, okay, I thought we were getting MJF versus Roosh, and then that changed to someone else. Later on down the line, we did get somewhat of that match, and then we had the face off with MJF and what is his name? I forgot. Will Ospreay. And I was like, okay, I'm more confused. So where are we? We're setting up 33 storylines in a matter of an hour. What direction are we going in? It was just a lot of confusion last night.
Was it a bad look to have MJF and Ospreay have a face-to-face after what had transpired earlier? Is this another example of Swerve being completely pushed out, completely overlooked?
No, because you can have that feud without the title.
What feud?
Ospreay and MJF.
No, but Ospreay's currently in a rivalry with Swerve.
Yes.
Title for title at Forbidden Door.
Right.
Is it title for title, or is it just for Swerve's title?
No, title for title. I believe so. Anybody in the chat can correct me on that. But you're in this rivalry, and they cut a really good promo against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I'm excited for this match. But now Ospreay's standing face to face with MJF, who we already know has a throwaway match against Huchichero. It almost felt like if you guys are setting up Ospreay MJF right now, you're kind of taking the piss out of this Swerve matchup, which we got in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's kind of what doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like, and this is so bad with Swerve, I feel like he's losing at Forbidden Door to set up, if this is what we're gonna have, MJF versus Will Ospreay at, what is it, All In? I think that's the big one in London.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Swerve is being overshadowed a lot in this. If you ask Swerve, he probably would say no, that's not the case. But that's how it's coming off on TV.
What I will disagree with you both, honestly, on this one. I don't think this moment's overshadowing Swerve to an extent of, I know maybe Swerve should have ended the show. I'll give you that. I'll concede that. But teasing the MJF Will Ospreay feud is something that you could do if Ospreay does lose to Swerve after that, which I checked Wikipedia, and it's just for the AEW title.
Just for the AEW title. Okay.
So Swerve retains. You have that. You dodge the bullet of the expected bullet train that everybody knew that it was going to be Ospreay versus Swerve at All In, potentially. And then you could do an Ospreay versus MJF at All In, and it's not for the title.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they can't do that, but just like the more clickable, the more talked about, the more buzzed about moment was, holy shit, MJF and Ospreay face to face. Yeah, in 9 days, Swerve's supposed to be fighting Ospreay. That's supposed to be the biggest story.
Is that just you can't blame them for being over?
No, but you shouldn't be doing that moment. Why would you have that moment? Why would you not?
You had the moment, though, with the face-to-face between Ospreay and Swerve. I'm sorry if that one wasn't the one that got all the clicks and everything.
Yeah, but
you said it was a good promo.
But that's where you would call it bad booking, because you're overshadowing your main event of your upcoming pay-per-view. You have MJF and Ospreay have a face-to-face the following Wednesday after Forbidden Door. If you really want to set it up, that's your moment. Not in the middle of this.
I'll concede that it could have been there, or you could have flipped those moments and you end the show and still you just ignore the face-to-face. You have that little moment, you end it with the confrontation. I'll give you that. So I just don't think it fully diminishes Swerve. And I'm not saying he hasn't been fucking kneecapped. He 100% has as a champion. I just don't think this is the moment that's really done him in.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't think he's done in. I just thought it was bad decision making, and we saw a lot of that with now Anna Jay's part of the Outcast, but Tony's fighting Mina, but then the Outcasts are jumping. Wait. Are you guys fighting at the pay-per-view? No, then why is all of this happening?
It's just a lot of things, and again, that's the problem when you have a Forbidden Door. If you've got to shoehorn things like an MJF versus Itchy and Scratchy, Hanako, El Dorado, El Luchadoro, into the pay-per-view, how like Ospreay versus versus Swerve before would have been a forbidden door because it would have been New Japan versus AEW. That's
Right.
not the case anymore.
Yeah, that's the other part of it. Is it's kind of weird.
That's why they have to bring in a CMLL, Stardom, etc., because they've already worked over and ran through their whole partnership with New Japan.
Right.
The only New Japan match that I know that's happening off the top on the card is Moxley versus Naito, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry.
Yeah, you got Mercedes Moné and Stephanie.
Oh, yeah, New Japan
That's
Strong.
coming out of CMLL, right?
He's CMLL New Japan Strong. So
She's the champ, the CML LL champ, I thought.
Fair enough.
I think I'm just guessing, but
I know she's the
new
Japan Strong champ.
Oh, okay, that's the belt. You're right.
Oh, and we've got Jeff Cobb on the. Okay, so I'm looking through the card on Wikipedia right now. So I'm wrong on it. We've got Danielson versus Shingo Tagaki, the tournament first round in the Owen Hart Cup. Which, by the way, I like that Jeff Jarrett's in that because he's actually been in a tag team with Owen Hart.
Fair enough. Now, who's TBA though?
I don't give a shit.
Any rumors? Well, Jarrett's doing the job for whoever TBA is.
Do you think he's doing the job?
100%.
I think he might get a win or two.
No fucking way. You're
crazy.
Tribute
to Owen, his former tag partner. That's when I am not a nugget.
He is fighting TBA. He's fucked in the first round.
It'll be Satnam Singh. He's going to do the finger poke of doom.
This is my fear.
It's TBA Jericho. Oh no. That's rancid. That's putrid.
Jericho wins the Owen Hart.
How did you feel, by the way? How did we all feel? Shout out John, Mr. Michael, everybody, and John's angry that we're not talking about TNA. I do have it pulled up on YouTube. Yes. How did you feel with the "Does it work for me, brother" line from Jericho?
Yeah, same shit. He's digging in. He's tripled down.
If he didn't just absorb like Brian Keith and Big Cass and Will Morrissey, W. Morrissey, all of that, I'd be fine with him just being this annoying, obnoxious, just campy, over the top. It'd just be the end of his run of just fuck it, you're a goofball now.
I don't know. I think I turned it off at that point or before that point.
Enough of this shit.
Thanks, guys.
It's just not good.
That's a TK impression. He's just doing a TK impression as a gimmick.
So are the Bucks. Like everyone's mocking the boss. Like it's hilarious.
How do you feel about Okada? I pressed the wrong button.
Oh. He made me laugh.
Bitch.
No, he made me laugh. I mean, again, he's got a little bit of personality for his limited.
Yeah, but I no longer view Okada like I did when he was having matches with Kenny Omega. That Okada's gone. He's gone 100%. Now it's comedy shtick, Fandango, Tyler Breeze, fucking Santino Marella, Okada.
I mean, that's a fair statement because you can say the same thing about the other one that came from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm losing names tonight. Yes, Jay White. You can say the same thing about him. So yeah, that's a fair statement.
He's in comedy recovery right now. I feel a little bit. They're halfway making him serious with Bang Bang Gang, which I guess going on the whole topic of Dynamite and everything like that. So I guess we're halfway recapping last night of briefly. The Acclaimed go over the Young Bucks in a title eliminator match. So for the first time ever, I feel somebody's actually won a title eliminator.
It may be just once or the second, maybe third time in 5 years that somebody actually won an eliminator. But you see what they're doing, right? Like, again, that to me, this is like the very pop-up book version of booking. Very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Hangman is TBA. I've thought Hangman was going to come back for a while. At this point, I don't know.
We have no idea what Hangman's up to.
Right. Like, where is he?
Speaking of someone who is where they is, what? I'm going to try Brother Countess sportertainment guy. I hope I said that. The graphic text is blowing my mind here. I like how we all, you know, tell we're on the vitamins and got glasses.
Right.
We all got to squint and look forward. Shout out to everyone in the chat, including Wrestling for Life Network. Keep up the good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from the South Bronx, South Bronx. Brother BKL Contreras, aka Sports Entertainment Guy. See, hey, I read it
What
right.
it says. You were so close.
I was close. I was close.
Good job. No, thank you so much.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it. We really do.
But speaking of saying names and they appear, I guess, how do we feel about Joe Hendry's the most clickable, most likable moment on WWE, social media, everything since WrestleMania?
It's unreal. This guy's a gem.
This guy got himself over with his theme song. Like literally beat out Beyonce and Taylor Swift on iTunes. Like
Right.
this man is a gem that needs to be held very, very high. In the professional wrestling space.
No, done a great job of getting noticed and making it apparent to everybody. Like, look at the social media response, and anybody out there that thinks, like, I know sometimes we get the, you know, our favorite tuna melt saying stupid shit like, oh, they had no idea. They're very aware of, holy shit, look, we might not know a lot about this guy, but we definitely see the numbers moving. And again, I love how we dig up those old pictures of like when he was the lawyer 5 years ago for Miro. Like, the fuck?
Right. Well, yeah, I think it was Hunter that said it at the Clash of the Castle post media scrum press conference interview, what have you, whatever they called it, after school special, about how being a security guard in WWE and everything like that, being security in wrestling is like the best way to get into wrestling.
Right.
Yeah, I think Joe Hendry showing up on Thursday was spectacular. I know I had him kind of on the list of showing up. I didn't think it was going to happen, but man, when it did, it did. And I did pop. I thought it was a great moment. I really did.
We need two people. We need two people to hit 5K subscribers, guys.
Dos amigos.
We need two. I know if you're listening right now, we got a good number of people. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, do it. If you got a friend or two, maybe at least one.
Make a secondary account. Just do that. Make a burner account 100% and just hit subscribe. Grab somebody and say you're going to take a picture. Or, hey, I need to check their weather real quick and just hit subscribe for them. Do that.
Yeah, it blows my mind that we're going to hit 5K subscribers. We appreciate all the love and everybody out there, even the kind words from new friends. But back to Joe Hendry real quick. I love the fact that, like, I know people are like, I can't believe you threw him out. No, but I thought they did it so well. And then you send him back to tell off Shawn Michaels and just leave that door open for, you know, I will show up whenever I want. Bye. You're like, shit, what does that mean?
And again, they use the social media aspect for that, and that's very much been the avenue that's gotten Joe Hendry over. If social media wasn't a thing, Joe Hendry's not over, respectfully.
Right.
Not to this degree.
And not to the level. I'll say that, not to the level. 100%. So you use that and to where he sits there and says, I'll show up anytime, any show, anywhere. So who's to say he doesn't show up on a Friday Night SmackDown or a Monday Night Raw or shows back up again in NXT?
Because the man said he can show up on any show. And I think
what TNA just do is say his name. He's like a genie. He just
appeared.
He's like Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, tell me there's anyone on this screen or in this chat right now that is not looking forward to that main roster pop. Like that, like you're in a good barn, you're at MSG or something, and that hits and the place goes spastic. I think that's going to be one of those holy shit moments that we live for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think at this point, I think anyone, especially Joe Hendry, it moves from TNA showing up on the main roster. It's huge. It's huge pops there. It really is.
Can you think of the last time somebody kind of did this? Would Matt Cardona be the best example of another guy that kind of found a way to really
100%. Now, I will also beg the question of, is he just over Elias? He's got a good tune. He carries a good tune. But yeah, I think the next comparable would be when Matt Cardona got over with the Long Island Z iced tea and everything.
Denisha, thank you so much for the super chat. Congrats on 5K. We did. We're at 5,001 subscribers. So, gentlemen, wonder if I can get the
thumbs to show. Oh,
fireworks, the fireworks. Oh, trust me. Try being on a stream half time with this man and just start doing random poses and everything. Just try to get shit to pop up. I like, are you frozen? Are you frozen? Am I frozen?
Right. I gotta click on this one. I love this. Your channel states people who hate on Wyatt 6 are insecure, jealous indie marks.
We didn't hate on it.
5-star matches. Did you wander into the wrong place? Where did you?
You must have fell and slipped and bumped your motherfucking head.
There's a lot of Delulu there.
What are you on about? We sat there, we're giving it praise. Enjoy your 5-star matches. I'm blocked by Dave Meltzer, so fuck him and his 5-star matches. That no one remembers. AW stinks. Elite sucks. We agree. We agree. They need help. They need help. Bloodline and Roman are overrated. Now you've just gone too far. You've gone too far.
Enough said. Anthony, do you have
absolutely no? I think Nick said it all. I think someone is a little Delulu tonight. That's what I think.
Have you wandered into the wrong place? Wrong place, wrong house.
You must have slipped, fell, and bumped your motherfucking head. And trust me, we are tall people. That's why we're still giving you the time. We're letting you come back around.
I don't know if that was meant for someone named JD from New York, but not this channel.
I mean, infamously, like the fucking AEW hater, the favorite comment of the night.
Well, no, just indiscriminate hate of just everything sucks. Like Anthony said earlier, of just there's some wrestling fans that just for whatever reason it's hate watching. Like they have like a BDSM kink with watching wrestling, or they just hate it to watch it, but still can't stop from watching it.
I just can't get enough.
I can't get enough.
I always say it's like, I just don't understand where, like, are the Law and Order fans gonna go out and threaten the cast because they didn't like the newest episode? I'm gonna stick with that theory.
I don't know. Star Wars nerds are pretty ferocious.
They're kind of crazy.
There's some super nerds of Marvel and such that get pretty ferocious.
I love it. But again, folks, we don't shy away. We will play that game all day long.
No, just stay tuned, and 100% I think we'll prove you the fuck wrong. Sorry, as I'm too rambunctious now.
I took it as so funny. That's awesome. So PCO is in a date
with Stephanie Lander.
Yes, I can't wait to see that a little later on.
Right,
and then Mance is going to show up. We're going to get PCO versus Mance for the GCW World Title.
Interesting.
How do you kill that which does not die?
Frankenstein needs love too, boys.
Got to jumpstart
it. Quickly back to TNA and NXT. Anything else kind of standing out right now as far as just quickly on a side note, Matt Hardy's killing me because now all those flowery posts he used to put out about the Young Bucks are now coming out about NXT and shit. It's killing me, Smalls.
Hey, guys.
He's trying. Great job, everybody. But any other buzz or anything you kind of like, I hope this is coming down the line with this. They continue to do a really good job with it.
I think the only thing I kind of want to touch on is that I like the fact that TNA is starting and growing their storylines on WWE TV. I feel like that is what right now in the early stages of this collaboration, that's what they are trying to do. They're trying to get more people to watch TNA. So how do you do that? You start your storyline or, continue your storyline on WWE TV. They did it with Ash by Elegance because I do believe that match is coming up. I don't know if it's going to be at Slammiversary, but I think it's going to happen. And then, you had Frankie Kazarian go over Joe Hendry at Against All Odds for that man to cost you the NXT championship opportunity on NXT to further their TNA feud. So I think TNA's main goal right now is let's get some eyes on our product by having some of our storylines show up on WWE television.
Bradley, thank you. Saying no, I'm going to answer in shit here in a quick second. Here, there you go. So you had it pulled up. Celebration 5K. Rashad, thank you for the 5K super chat. 100%. Is it weird though that Kazarian got no fucking entrance or anything? Of just already in the ring, Frankie Kazarian. Is that like as Anthony, you're the TNA resident expert here. How do you feel if you're a TNA fan that this deal has shaken out in comparison for what AW or from what TNA has gotten from WWE and what WWE's gotten from TNA? If they've had their world champion, they had Joe Hendry on their television, everything. But
I
we
hope
get Tatum Paxley to crickets.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. I hope that there's more favor down the line with TNA. I can say this: if the big stars from NXT don't show up, I can personally I'll be a little disappointed. I think right now WWE has been heavy on some of TNA's big guys, and they haven't shot anyone over to TNA just yet from NXT that is pretty big, like a Trick Williams or or Roxanne Perez, because that match happened on NXT, not on TNA television. So I hope down the line that it kind of switches a little bit, and that we get more of the high-end NXT talent on TNA. I was a little bit upset that Frankie Kazarian didn't get an entrance, because I literally did not know Frankie Kazarian was in the match and almost until Joe Hendry's music hit. So as soon as I was looking, I was like, "Oh, Kazarian!" And then Joe Hendry's music hit. So I feel like he should have gotten an entrance. But it's WWE for you.
Well, you don't think that you could get an Alan James Cuthbert Styles that shows up in TNA?
I think so.
I would hope so. I'm hoping that they do some type of main roster movement. So, because right now it seems like it is strictly NXT. But if there's someone that is going to show up from WWE main roster to TNA, AJ Styles is one of them.
Yeah, I think it works really well. We know that they're lending them out to Noah. Very interesting with what they do with AJ. And I mean, I think the TNA thing has worked really well. Like you said, Anthony, they're using it to build the storylines on their shows as well, hoping that fans come over. We've seen people who are pretending to be fans who are now on the bandwagon, at least temporarily.
Yeah. They got a little scratchy on the back here.
Right. But I think I think it's working really well. And I think, you know what? I don't think if you did a Frankie entrance, it might have been better just to give him the entrance that they gave him, because him coming out might have had cricket. Like people like three guys in the front row with Austin 316 t-shirts who were like Kazarian, but
right.
It might have been best off just.
And they did show his entrance on YouTube or Twitter. Yeah. They had a recording, and it was kind of crickets until his name popped up. So I get it. I think Joe Hendry at this point in time is probably the biggest star in TNA. So when his music hit, everybody in the world was gonna pop. When Frankie Kazarian's music hit, I don't think we would have got that same reaction.
Yeah, no offense, but it's Frankie. We love it.
Good hand. Well, I got Frankie taking on Ace Steel right now in a Chicago street fight. So we're seeing how crucial Ace Steel was to the brawl out and everything right now. We're seeing what he can do.
Kenny, thank you for becoming new subscriber. We just eclipsed 5K. We're 502. So thank you for being a new subscriber, and thank you for joining us. I still think we're doing Worlds Collide.
Yeah, there's got to be some crossover pay-per-view event, some premium live event, what have you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If it's not Worlds Collide, it's TNA's Multiverse of Madness. Whatever it's gonna be something.
Right. Well, Capone, congrats on 5K. KJ, Nick, Anthony, trios champions of the IWC Tag Team Trios champions. Words are hard at times. Listen, I already did the whole Tamatonga noises when Drew lost, so we've already established that I struggle with words.
Only when you're amped.
Right.
Do we see what is going on with MCMG, guys?
wait and see, holding the bait of, well, theirs looking pretty good, and maybe we could go over there. It depends on, really, it's up to them.
Right.
I mean,
I could be wrong, but I think them going to AEW is a dud right now. I really could. I feel like they might be pulling the Jordan Grace and just wanted to take time away from TNA and come back. That's what she did last summer. She took some time away and came back. So maybe Slammiversary, Bound for Glory is around the corner as well. So maybe they're coming back to TNA.
ooh, maybe.
Maybe. I guess Top Dollar is beating up PCO. That's interesting. Are we surprised Top Dollar has become a champion? I think the guy's got a lot better. I know we rag on him a lot, but I think he's kind of finding a groove in TNA.
Oh yeah, he's found his spot. Yeah. He's found his niche.
Yeah, he's definitely found where he wants to be, and I think TNA is a good place for him.
Absolutely. But with all that being said, I think there was the one other thing that was kind of circling around, and I know Nick and I kind of bounced this off each other earlier this week, and I know we disagree, but JR in an interview, it kind of got conflated as it always does, but the idea that Shane McMahon could join AEW in some capacity.
Well, exterior context of to where now Conrad, I guess, said it on one of his fucking 75 podcasts that he's on,
right,
and everything. Respect you, Conrad, but goddamn, said that it was with him and Bischoff, 83 weeks, I think, about how there was a friend of theirs talking about Shane McMahon that had, I guess, reached out to talent at AEW about the potential of working there or being involved, like just trying to get in contact here. So there's instantly, of course, a Shane McMahon involved towards AEW, and everybody takes legs with it.
Shane in AEW, I don't know. When I read it, I was like, oh, okay. Like I don't really care,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it'll do anything to help AEW. He'll just be there, right? It's still going to be Tony Khan's show. I don't know if he shows up as a manager or something, but Shane McMahon, AEW, it does nothing for me.
Shane McMahon was on the last WCW show. Is he on the last AEW show?
He might
the
be.
Name on the contract does say Khan, but it says Nick Khan.
I think
so.
I think if you're trying to go viral as AEW, I mean, Shane McMahon showing up at all would be insane. AEW Underground, that's hilarious.
But no, your fucking core neckbeard, smart mark, skid mark audience and everything, and I'm saying this with all due respect of 100%, your diehard tribalists that fucking think this is Survivor of Wrestling will lose their shit about the fact that there's a McMahon in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
You lose your sickos. Your sickos are gone.
Oh, I don't think so, because we've seen it before where they kind of like
if they warp their head to accept a McMahon against the narrative they've spinned, then they'll have an identity crisis.
Right now, I can hear it right now. Well, Shane was never like his father. He always tried to make it better. They would have owned the UFC if it wasn't for Shane or Vince. So, we're glad we got the good McMahon. We got the good McMahon. I can hear it now. They'll justify it.
That's it's so fucking contradictory, and that it pisses me off that they don't even acknowledge it or understand it or respect it. Like they're just so blind fucking sheep shit.
Yeah, it was like the people pining over the Bellas. Why? That's doesn't make sense.
Right. It's just wrestling fans in general. I wouldn't have a problem. Like you mentioned the Bellas, I wouldn't have a problem with the Bellas showing up on AEW. I like the Bellas actually, but yeah, it's the weirdness of the IWC. If it doesn't go their way, it's the worst decision in the world. But if it does go their way, in terms of AEW, oh my God, it's best. So it's so weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I just think of like the problem is I think now we're at this cynical point. So even if you say Shane McMahon or Seth Rollins or anytime someone's like this person, Ricochet can go to AEW, we all kind of go, We'll see how they go. Like nobody gets that jazzed anymore about a bit. Like there is a possibility if you did some type of invasion angle where Shane comes in and is saying all the things that the non-AEW, like if he represents that WWE world and that's where you keep the neck beards and the simps super happy, there is a potential to make a huge bank on that play.
The Elite bring in Shane McMahon to counter Tony Khan of that's how they're going to take over AEW. Shut the fuck up.
Right? It kind of like there is.
Why?
You're like, fuck, don't do that. But you're like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe
that's the only way you can do it.
Right? But it kind of makes sense.
Fuck. If they do that, I want royalties. I want something. We want copyright, trademark.
We just got to figure out who owns that fucking song. I'm sure it's fucking WWE.
Yeah, as D-Land out here looking like either fucking Elvira or, Amy Winehouse. Sorry, we're having a public date in the ring between her and PCO.
It's a weird way to do it. It's like when, we've seen in the past where the wrestlers decide to play poker or something in the ring. You're like, what are y'all doing?
yeah. Shout out Duke Hudson there.
Right. AW needs something to boost ratings and attendance, so why not bring in Shane and try? Is that just a sign of where people are at of like, try anything?
That's such a fuck mentality to have. That's a loser's mentality. Like, you're losing at that point if that's where you're at with your mentality of just fuck it, just throw anything at the wall and see what sticks, because then you're not actually planning to get out step by step. You have no plan. Right. So if that thing fucking sticks, you have no way to follow up on it.
Right. And then again, if you use that theory of Shane coming in to pop the ratings, then that means a McMahon is popping your ratings. Like you needed a McMahon to
actually go on with themselves. We'll just have minds exploding across the streets.
That's valid. You're kind of what Nick said as well when you're trying to alienate that core audience of like, wait a minute, right? Like even if you do succeed, now you're succeeding with a McMahon. Are you fucked either way?
Right. You were supposed to be the opposite of that, and you need a McMahon's help. Like that's the worst situation to be in.
I can't wait to watch Shane McMahon jump off of Blood and Guts.
And just break his fucking fibia, tibia, quad, fucking cankle, ACL, PCL.
Poor guy. But yeah, I mean that's again super intriguing, folks. I see the chat still rolling, but we are going to start heading towards the door. Maybe click on one or two more late comments. But we are back tomorrow. SmackDown, Saturday, Collision, and Wrestling Revolver, the Cage of Honor. We will be here for that. And then all week leading up to Forbidden Door, we have all your wrestling, more live coverage than anybody else out there. Members only chats, merch. Go check it all out. Follow us on all the socials. Ooh, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm out of words.
And any final statements?
Yeah, the TNA review again will be out on Saturday. Reviewing this week's episode of TNA, talking a little NXT with Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian, and what may potentially happen going into Slammiversary.
Can't wait.
Appreciate everybody that watches us. It's crazy that we, as 2 years, a little bit, and some change in the game, already at 5K. So appreciate that 100%. It's still kind of crazy, and the fact that we were actually able to hit it live, I think, was really cool.
Yeah.
So 100%. But on that beautiful note, our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you're talking about that wrestling, you're able to put that for life with it.
Thank you so much for 5K, guys. It means the world to us. Come back tomorrow. And until then, we'll see you on the flip side. Good night.